Well, hello everyone. How are you? Dear colleagues, say something please.
Hello.
Everything is okay.
Oh,
Hello.
okay. Can you hear me well and can you see the presentation?
Yes, I can hear you well, and I can see the presentation.
Wonderful. So then I guess we can start because we have a lot of information here, and let's just move to slide number 2. Um, you have definitely started with slide number 1, so you know that our topic is classroom management, and it means that today we'll be talking about different things that make our work more efficient and productive and just, better organized. So if you have any questions about things that we'll be discussing today, please ask all the questions because it's important for us to share some information and experiences and different opinions. It's always good for us. But let's start with slide number 2. Here we have different teacher roles, what we do at the lesson, and of course we perform all of those roles at this or that time, but I would like you to choose one that is the most enjoyable for you and explain why.
May I start,
Of course.
Olga? So I think that checker is the most, I can say, uh, I like checking what my students did
Mm-hmm.
for the last week, for example, and this is how I can see their progress, and I really enjoy it. So I think
Mm-hmm.
this is the most important and the enjoyable thing for me.
Okay, thank you. Who would like to continue? Anyone?
I always try to give as much information as I can.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my role is mostly in giving information. So I'm an information giver.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, I think, the main thing for, well, all of them are very important, but I think this is the main one for me.
Okay, I see. Um, we discussed this role or this quality of a teacher at one of our lifetimes as well, and it's good. It's quite natural for a teacher to give information, but we should always combine it with something else. It shouldn't be just pure information and nothing else, yeah, because people have different objectives and we should take everything into account. Okay, any more ideas? Anything else to share?
Well, sometimes being a confidence builder is also
Mm-hmm.
pretty pleasant when you see that a person that perhaps used to dislike the language or used to be afraid of the language, and when you see that this person now feels more confident in their abilities, in their knowledge, and they feel like that thanks to you, well, yeah, that's pretty pleasant.
Yeah, that's wonderful, I believe. Okay, so then let's go to the next slide, number 3. And here we have some more specific tasks or functions that we perform during the lesson. And I would ask you about the following. Do you feel that some of them are difficult for you?
Well, I can see the word socialize. I can hardly understand how can I on my classes how can I give them to the students to socialize? I mean, we can socialize only when we have some group of people, for example, not only one but two or three. So I can't understand the meaning here of the word socialize. Maybe there is another meaning here.
Wow.
Olga?
You make me want to check it in the dictionary. Can we say that two people
Of
are
course.
socializing or not? I will check. So what I
Mm-hmm.
meant is just not only present the information and check the
Mm-hmm.
understanding and give some feedback and introduce some activities, but also talk as normal people, you know. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
meant. Okay,
Okay.
I'll check if I'm mistaken. Hmm. Well, I can see from examples in dictionary.com that it can be used with one person.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
Okay, good.
Well,
Sorry
it's good
then.
to learn something new. Why not?
I think the word socialize means to get into the community without any problems. I mean, to socialize means to mm, not have problems in communication with other people. This is what it means.
Mhm.
So it's maybe you mean that you need to, I don't know, make them more comfortable with speaking or what?
No, it's about you. It's about to associate or mingle sociably with others. This is the meaning from the
Hmm.
dictionary.
Okay. Okay, so I can speak about my problem, not maybe problem, but the thing that I don't like doing, and I think that we shouldn't do it very often. I mean, eliciting information. You always told us that it's
Mhm.
the best of the best, but I still think that it's good for the high levels because they have means to express what they think about it. But at low level, they just can't get usually or can't express what they understood. Sometimes they understand, but they cannot just, they don't have this means of expressing.
And probably we should think of some better instruments to extract that understanding. If they do understand,
Maybe,
it's just
maybe,
a
yes.
question.
But as I told before, and I keep telling it, it's like too time consuming. Yeah, I can do it, but I think that it's better to do it other way. Not always, yes. Sometimes it's very good, but
Okay, actually it's not the point now. So I can see in the chat that Anna is writing correcting errors could be difficult. What else could be difficult for you, ladies and gentlemen?
Well, I will continue because I haven't said what my problem is. My problem is that I sometimes it happens that a student might, well, when I'm explaining the information, then I explained it all, then my students say, well, maybe I understood, maybe. So it,
Mm-hmm.
um, my reaction then, how? How is that possible? I explained this topic for you like for 3 minutes and you don't understand it. Then we practice and um, and well, I don't know, maybe the result could be much better.
Mm-hmm.
I deal with this problem. I before the lesson I check what grammar we are going to study, and I Google it before the lesson, and well, it helps me. Only it helps me. I don't know. Maybe
So
I'm
just a second. You Google grammar and do what?
no.
Will you help?
I Google no. I Google how to explain this grammar rule because you know in the box in the grammar box it is not always clear
Absolutely. Ina, I don't
Mhm.
suppose you have been to our grammar webinar.
Well, actually, this is my first, my
Right.
first,
I remember you
yeah.
from some other project, yeah, but I don't think
Mhm.
you've been to the grammar webinar. Please come when you see it scheduled.
Mhm.
It will help you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Oh, we have a group of perfect teachers. Wow. No problems. Great. Then I can just, go do some housework. There's nothing I can tell you if you have no problems with anything. Okay, I'm just joking, of course. Um, from experience, I can say that giving instructions is not easy for everyone. Giving students the opportunity to practice language is not easy for everyone because there are some teachers who talk a lot. Correcting errors, as Anna wrote in the chat, is sometimes problematic, and some other things as well. So today we'll see how to overcome some difficulties. Hopefully you find something useful for yourself. And we'll start with this: socializing, communicating, being a real person, not only a teacher. It's slide 4, building rapport. How can we get on with the student, especially with a new student? Because it's very important. For information, they have the internet. If they come to us, they need some real interaction. So it's important to have an eye contact if you are using a camera. Relax and smile. It helps your students relax and smile too, and show interest in them. We often talk about how to involve the student. What if the student is bored? What if they don't want to do this? What if they're not interested in that? If you're interested in them, if they come to you and you show genuine happiness, maybe not like super happiness, but at least um, you are pleased to see them, you will just enjoy this hour together, and they will do all the activities you suggest. Does anyone have any secrets how to establish this contact?
Well, I'm not sure if I've got any secrets, but
Mhm.
sometimes it may help to remember that we should even when it's warm up and
Mhm.
like pre-lesson warm up, and we're not really watching. Okay, so even during that warm-up, what we should do is to just uh, throw a ball, some initiative, ask them something, and then do our best to listen and say as less as we can ourselves, because then well, the more we let them talk, the better. And if they don't
Mhm.
want to talk, because sometimes, yes, sometimes people are, I don't know, are tired or just nothing happened in their life or they're not in the mood, then yes, and it would be good not to, I don't know, not to force them to do what they would be uncomfortable to do, and just, well, kind of transfer to the lesson using, I don't know, some linking phrase or a couple of phrases.
Mhm. Of course,
Well, yeah.
let them talk. It's always good. Okay. Anything else?
I think you should be honest with your students.
Mhm.
if you pretend that it's interesting to you, they will see it, they will detect it. We are not just, I don't know, perfect actors. We cannot deceive everybody. Maybe somebody we can, but not everybody. If you are not interested in this topic, just don't pretend that you are interested. Maybe you can ask some questions, but don't say, "Oh, really? Oh." Well, honesty, I think, is the best thing. So if you are not interested, just don't pretend. That's it.
I'm not sure I can agree with it 100% because you may not be interested in the topic, but you can be interested in the person at the same time.
Yes, you can be interested in the person, but if, for example, I'm not interested in cars and I don't care about it. One of my students bought a new car. I asked her about it, but just I cannot keep the conversation because I don't know anything about it. And I can't do it, and I don't try to do it. I just told her to tell me something. I was listening, nodding, smiling, yes, but I couldn't ask follow-up questions.
That's
And I
because you are
didn't try.
a
I
man.
didn't try. I just was a good listener, yeah, but I didn't try to go deep into it because I'm not interested, and my interest would be artificial, I think, if I tried to do it.
Maybe, but like I said, it's just because you're a man, because I'm sure ladies will agree with me. How much are we really interested in all male stuff that we have to listen to? Not very, yeah, we can. Oh, really? That's amazing, you know so much about cars. Great. I have no idea
If
what the person has just
you know this student is a girl, if I told this, she would maybe find it a bit sexist, like, oh, you know so much about cars, being a girl, yeah.
I didn't say being a girl, I just said you
No,
know so
I
much
mean
about cars, it's
she can
amazing.
take it like this. Yes, she can understand it like that.
Okay, so I'm sure um, we can establish some good relationship with all our students if we try enough, and our lifetime tool helps us with that, how to conduct the first lesson. So let's move further. Let's look at slide 5, and here we can see something that could be a problem for some teachers. Teacher talking time and student talking time. We should speak no more than 30%, so that our students could speak about 70%. It's easy to achieve in a group because they talk to each other. If they misunderstand your instructions, they ask each other. When you start giving them feedback, some strong students help you because they correct mistakes. You don't have to act as a speech partner for your students, so it's easy. But when we have only one student, we are his only source of help, and we have to talk to him as a speech partner. What can you do? We should keep our talking time under control all the time because, well, they came here to practice and to learn speaking. So what should we do? How to reduce our talking time? Who has any ideas?
Sadly, no ideas, but since it's a very significant problem for me, if anyone's got any sort of advice, I'll be just uh, the happiest person alive.
Wow, so easy to make a person happy.
Yeah, sure.
Mhm. Yeah,
I'm
who
trying
else?
to restrict myself because I like talking,
How?
as you can see.
Restrict
Yes,
how?
just to, when I open my mouth to talk, then I think no, just let somebody talk. Yes, just by trying to control yourself. If you mean this, if you mean something else, so you should make your instructions shorter,
Mm-hmm.
maybe to the point,
Mm-hmm.
use body language, use mimics, use,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, flashcards if you want,
Right.
whatever, yes.
Mm-hmm. Non-verbal means. Anything else?
I think you can ask more questions
Mm-hmm.
than your student will answer, will talk and talk. So in my at my lessons, usually I don't have those problems right now. Well, at the beginning I had, but now this is not that such a problem for me because I
Mm-hmm.
just ask students about their news, about what they did this week, and maybe about the topic today the topic of the lesson, so etc., etc. Just asking questions helps me.
Okay. Anything else? Well then, let's look at slide 6. What should we do is something that you mentioned. We should use nonverbal means of expressing something, like gestures would be good, miming if we need that. Short instructions, absolutely right. Because instructions are pretty standard. Some corrections and some instructions too that we say, they could be replaced by gestures. Elicitation is a good thing here because you involve your student. You're not the only person talking. They participate in the conversation as well. Thinking time. Before speaking, give them a minute to collect their thoughts. Even when they're doing some grammar activity, you shouldn't be like, okay, let's look at the next sentence. So what tense do we need here? Is it a long activity or a short activity? Give your student 3 seconds. He will figure it out by himself. And follow-up questions, as you mentioned, so you know most of the do's. That's really great. It's easy to follow the do's. What is difficult is to eliminate don'ts. Because these don'ts, they're just bad habits. For example, some teachers echo. I am guilty of that myself sometimes. I'm trying to bite my tongue, but you know, it's difficult to get rid of bad habits. For example, when your student says, they went to the cinema, true, true. They were late, false, false. Why do you repeat this word? Okay, if it's only true and false, maybe it doesn't make a lot of difference. But if it's right, they had been waiting for 3 hours before the bus came. Why is the teacher repeating that?
It's a question.
It's a question. Why do
To
teachers?
make sure that the student understood it right, or maybe.
But they understand. They repeat students' phrases. Many teachers do that. Repeat their students' phrases. Why?
Maybe it is a kind of praise for a student, like, yes, you answered right, or something.
Yes, it is a kind of praise, but it's a very wordy kind. So what Anna is writing, like to make sure that all the students heard that, here we are talking about only one student. He heard himself, I believe, so we don't need to repeat. If we want to give praise, we can say, yes, right, great, perfect, but one word, not 5. And repeating his phrase, well, yeah, we confirm that it's correct, but it's too wordy. And if we count all the time that we spend on repeating phrases, we can see that it's 3, 4, 5 minutes of the lesson. So we can save this time and give it to our student for his talking, not for ours. Another habit is repeating instructions. So let's read this text and mark the sentences true and false. If you see that the sentence is correct, you put T. If you see that the sentence is false, you put F. So you don't really write anything here, just the wrong sentence, you press F. The correct sentence, you press T. How many times have I repeated the same thing? 3 times. Why?
Maybe because you don't see the understanding in your eyes, in the eyes of the student. Or maybe because you are not sure that your instruction was good. The first one was good.
But the student usually is not stupid. They're smart people. It's just their level of English that is not very high. And instead of repeating the same thing 3 times or 4 times, we can find some other ways. We can check that they understand, but not by making our instruction longer and longer. And now we'll practice how to do it. Wordy explanation. One thing that I've heard today is, after I've been explaining something for 3 minutes, I can see that my student kind of understood something. He might as well have fallen asleep during 3 minutes, right? That's why he's not sure if he understood or not. Our students are not like what we used to be when we were students. They don't study philology. They don't study English to have deep understanding of all language processes and so on. They study English to solve some real life problems. And a lot of theoretical information does not constitute some instruments that they need for solving those problems. So they need minimum input and maximum practice. And you should see what your today's lesson is about. For example, if your lesson is about present perfect with ever never, it means that all your controlled practice activities will be about ever never. And if you start telling your student everything you know about present perfect, most information will be wasted, because if you don't practice it, the student doesn't remember anything, right? So we should stick to the point, give only the main information, not a lot of comparisons and a lot of details and some minor differences between this and that, so something that is functional. And again, if you replace something with gestures, maybe draw some pictures, maybe use timelines. You can, for example, go to some interactive whiteboard like I draw for that, or just draw on a piece of paper and show. If you keep your explanation short, the student is not confused, they understand the main idea, and they are ready to practice. And another thing is teacher-centered lesson. Again, as we discussed it during our lifetime too, for some people it's difficult to change the style because of their previous experience. If you worked in such situation where you are the only person who knows something and there are a lot of people who don't have any other sources of information except you have to deliver the knowledge, it's difficult to switch and to put them in the center. But here, when you work one-on-one, and actually all the information is readily available, the lesson should be built around the student. In this way, you talk less and they talk more. Do you have any questions about do's and don'ts?
Well, maybe just one small question. If the let's imagine a situation that a lesson is devoted to maybe some I don't know, to some grammar topics, like not a usual lesson on the platform, but something maybe different, something about grammar, or a certain skill like writing a letter or writing a CV or passing something. Well, how can we minimize our talking time during these lessons when we naturally have to explain quite a lot, I guess?
Well, as for grammar, what is the point of learning grammar without practicing it?
Hmm.
I cannot imagine, well, I can imagine anything, I have good imagination, but I would never plan a lesson uh, of grammar presentation only. And first of all, okay, we need some grammar. Doesn't matter for what. Where do we take it? Out of the blue? We need some context. How do we present this context? We need a text for reading or some audio for listening. So it's not only grammar. Then, okay, we present it. How do we see that the student understands it? Because they don't need it just for memorizing. They will never get into a situation where they have to, I don't know, stand in front of some audience and retell grammar rules. No, they should be able to use it in some situations. So we definitely need some practice. Even if you, like, for example, your student asked you that, I don't know how to use, let's say, past continuous. Let's focus on past continuous next time. Okay, but it's not your lecture on past continuous that he needs, right? He needs to see it in the context. He needs some presentation with very informative and very short, basic difference between past continuous and past simple, because that's where they have problems. And then he needs practice, some controlled practice, and then more freer practice. This is your grammar lesson, right?
Okay, I see. Okay.
Okay. Well, if you don't have any more questions, as you can see, most of things here are connected with given instructions. Let's look at slide 7. We have discussed already that we should know if our instructions are good enough. We can check it just by listening to ourselves. And if we see that something should be changed, we start pre-planning them, writing them down at least for a week, and we will, by all means, see considerable improvement. Has anyone done that by any chance? Just out of curiosity, it wasn't a home task or anything. So anyone who visited the previous webinar, do's and don'ts, has anyone started writing down the instructions? Okay, not yet. So again, our instructions should be short and precise. Do this. Read and match. Listen and tick off. Something like very, very simple, very, very basic. If you have some relatives or friends, maybe children, whose level of English is not very high, use them, practice with them, give them your instructions. If they understand what to do, if they don't look like this girl, then your instructions are good enough. If they are like, what is that? Then your instructions should be changed. Demonstrate if it's very difficult, if it requires some, I don't know, complicated action, show what to do. Rearrange those words if the student is confused. Fill in the first gap and explain your train of thought and so on. And do you have students who do the following? The moment you switch to the next slide, they start doing something, ticking something, maybe clicking on some words, adding them to the dictionary. They don't even listen to your instructions.
Yes, I have those students. Well, when I'm explaining the task, they already do it. So then I say, I didn't tell you to start doing it, and I feel like they don't understand me. Maybe because they are elementary students usually, or pre-intermediate sometimes, and
They don't understand what? I don't know.
My task, I mean, the task, how I explain it. So I'm explaining the instruction, and some of them, they already start doing it.
Do they start doing the right thing or the wrong thing?
Well, for example, I'm explaining the first task, which is very, very short. So it was 2 days ago. So I switched to the page. Then there was a little exercise above, just in the beginning of the lesson, and then I started to explaining it, and the student at this time started to do the next exercise on that page. So, and I was like, no, I was explaining you the first task, not the second. So it happened to me 2 days ago.
Okay, so what should we do with such students, colleagues?
I would like to hear any helping words, explanations what to do in that kind of situations.
Okay, who can help us?
Maybe drive the attention of a student.
How?
I don't know. Either with a bit louder, like um, voice. So please stop or say something, or I don't know, wave your hand so that they can see that something is going on. Maybe by some noise, or I don't know. Please listen to me, and so some very easy words, but to drive the attention of a student.
Okay, that could help, but if they keep doing it, and maybe I should rephrase my question. What would you do in a real classroom? Because we have some instrument that can help us here on the platform.
In the real classroom, you mean not online, offline?
Yes, offline. What would you do offline if some students start doing things before you told them what to do?
Well, can imagine this situation, because I think that in a real life situation it would be easier not to
How?
let this go. Well,
Well, I gave this advice because at my university there was a teacher who attracted our attention when we started doing something which what we were not supposed to do, like talking to each other or I don't know whatever. He just took his chair and slammed it on his
God.
desk, like on the top of his desk, for everybody to just react quickly. So you should attract attention. You should first stop the person somehow, and the thing that stops a person is something unusual, something that you are not expecting.
Yeah, so you can make
To
some
drive
funny
attention.
noises.
You should drive attention somehow.
I wouldn't slam anything. I would maybe make some funny noise or
Like
wave my hand. Um, and what do we do in the real classroom? We keep those worksheets and we show them in our hands. Okay, group, now I'm giving you this, and here you should do blah, 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 blah. Do you write here? No. Do you tick off the words? Yes. Okay, take one and pass around. Here we can do the same because we have preview. You can stay at the previous page and to tell the student, okay, now we are switching to the next slide and we are going to do blah, blah, blah. Do we do this? No. Do we do this? Yes. Okay. And only then you switch. So first instruction, then the worksheet, yes, or the slide. Don't do it with everyone, just with those who are so much in a hurry to start doing something that they don't listen to you. Okay, let's look at slide 8. What helps us prevent repeating our instructions again and again and again is instruction comprehension questions. What do? We break instructions into core elements. For example, if it's read the text and answer 2 questions. If you have only 2 questions, it means that it's for general understanding. So it's skimming, yes, reading for general understanding. Your student needs first to read silently, second to read quickly, not to focus on every word, but just move like this. This is important. And you ask questions about this. Do you read aloud? No. Do you read quickly? Yes. Do you need every word in the text to answer these two questions? No. So they give you yes/no questions, but your questions should be relevant to the task. It should be a question about something where they can make a mistake. If you have a listening activity and you ask them, so do you need to listen? Like, really? They're not stupid. They're just elementary students. They won't deliberately turn off the sound or block their ears. They will listen. It's impossible to make a mistake if you have a listening task. But something like, do you need every word? For those who are new to the be like, do you type here? Do you drag and drop? Do you tick off something about the, you know, functionality of the page? You can ask something like this. This is a universal way to check understanding that doesn't require repeating the instruction again and again and again. What else do people do? If you as a teacher ask, so read the text and answer these two questions. Do you understand? Is it a good question?
Well, not sure if it's a good question or not, but sometimes I do ask it, like, do you understand this? Like, do you understand that? So, yeah, maybe in this given example, it's not very good because, well, the instruction is pretty clear and simple even for the elementary students, so maybe we shouldn't ask that.
Doesn't depend on the level. It's not very informative because some people, even if they don't understand, they don't want to look silly and they say yes, and then they start doing their own thing. Or some people, just in case, just to be sure, they say no, no, repeat it again, and you have to repeat and you waste time.
The tasks
So
on the platform are pretty much the same, and
right,
you
right.
cannot do, you cannot, I don't know, write in the places where you can only choose. Yes, or
If
you
it's a new
cannot
student,
write
you can.
if you should
I
write.
saw
Yeah,
that.
if it's a new student, after 1 or 2 lessons, he will know what to do. So you just say the instruction, and you shouldn't just check it. If the person starts doing something different, yes, then you can say, please do this, do that, did you understand what I say, and so on. But usually they are the same. We shouldn't, I think, even
Okay,
concentrate.
let me repeat it again. You should ask those questions about the points where the student can make a mistake. If it's a student who's been working with you for even a month, I can bet money on the fact that your student knows how to match words and pictures.
Yeah?
And here you don't need any words. You just say, now, shk, shk, and you show how you drag and drop words. And they start doing it. But if it's something more complicated, where they can make a mistake, check it. Why should you frustrate your student with, letting them make mistakes, and then they won't think that, oh, my teacher didn't check if I know what to do. That was my teacher's mistake. No, they will think I am the most stupid student in the world, and we don't want that. Um, I believe our colleague who wrote a question about specific questions, I believe her name is Anastasia, but I can be mistaken because I can see only A. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's Anastasia. So Anastasia has a very good question. Maybe we should ask more specific questions, like what we should do first, what we should do next. Is it a good idea?
I think it is a very good idea because when you ask, again, when you ask your student what we do first, what we do next. He's practicing language, and it's
Okay,
good
what if
for sure.
it's a beginner? What if it's a
Hmm?
beginner, elementary, beginner levels?
Oh, then there are some problems because I work with some beginner students and they are like,
Mhm.
no, I can't explain. It's very, very difficult for me for now.
Is it ever our goal to teach them how to give instructions for exercises?
Oh, well, no.
No. They don't have to be able to repeat. Because even if they are, let's say, pre-intermediate, sometimes if it's more complicated than match words and pictures, they could, and again, they're students. They know that if you ask some questions, that they should say it correctly. They start thinking about your words and how to put them together, and it's like, some extra work that they don't need. They need to practice it, to practice that past continuous or whatever you are studying, and not practice giving instructions. They don't need them at this point. So if you ask something like, what do we do first? What do we do next? It's like too much talking that may be difficult for the student or not the point of the lesson now. Or if you just ask them to repeat the whole instruction. Okay, so what shall we do? They don't know what to say, or they start speaking Russian. Sometimes I feel guilty when I don't explain a lot. I believe, Anna, you work at some university as well. That's why I think you feel guilty when you don't explain a lot. Yes, yeah. They need you to, we had a lot of functions, to give them confidence, to motivate them to speak more, to check if they are doing things correctly, and to help them with mistakes, and to praise them when they are correct, to clarify if something is confusing, and so on. They need you. Definitely. Okay.
Well, Olga,
Yes.
yeah, I'm not sure if I do this right. When we start a new task, I just read everything that is written in the task, then I explain it in easy words. So is it good? I'm not sure,
Okay, colleagues,
honestly.
what do you think?
Not good.
Can you explain
Yeah,
why?
I can, well, because it takes twice the time
Mm-hmm.
of the explanation. If you can
Mm-hmm.
explain it in an easy way, just explain it in an easy way, and that's it.
Well,
Absolutely.
I read it for the first time for me to understand it better.
Oh, you should read it before the lesson then.
Yes, but
Exactly.
I can't. For sure, but my memory is so bad, and before lesson, of course, I check everything, but then,
Well, but there
uh,
is a preview button. If you
Right.
are on the previous task, at the end of the previous
yes,
task, you can
yes,
preview this task and read it for yourself, and then when you get to it, you can give your short
hmm
and clear instruction.
of
Or
course,
you,
but when my student is answering questions, I concentrate only on him, on his answers. So this
Or
I never.
maybe you shouldn't just change the instructions, just read it, and that's it.
Mhm.
Maybe
oh
it's enough
no,
for him.
it's
No?
not enough. It's
No?
never enough. No.
Okay.
Um, so all the ideas except the last one, I absolutely support. Um, well, Aina, think of something, read silently if you need. Pretend that you are drinking water while reading silently.
Oh, there is always a picture. You can
Mhm.
say, look at the picture, what's going on,
Mhm.
what do you think about it, or
Mhm.
maybe what are
Mhm.
we
Of
going to
course,
talk
yeah.
about? And while they are thinking just a little bit, or maybe, do you like this dog? Or, I don't know, is it a nice flower?
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah. Thank you.
You can have some seconds for thinking.
Right. So yeah, think of some plan B, but don't repeat the same thing twice. What else I wanted to say? Okay, if you don't have any questions, then we have to practice. Let's look at slide 9. I need some volunteers for that. This is an extract from our beginner lesson, one of the first in the course. I would ask you, first of all, to imagine that we can see only, read the texts here, ignore the first two words here. Then I would ask you to give me instructions. I didn't copy the second one because it seems to be quite simple and you can think of your own ways to say it. So, two little texts for reading. Not necessarily first, you can do it differently. You can give me true false first and the second task next. It's up to you, it's your lesson. One of the tasks is to do something with the underlined words. Think about my level and what I can really do and what this task on the platform says and what does it even mean for a student to do what you can see here. And the second one as well, what should I do to be able to mark the sentences true and false? So give me instructions and check my understanding. I am a beginner, remember. Who is ready? Okay, we need some volunteers. If we don't have any, I'll just find someone in the list. Okay, Vadim, let's start with you.
Yes, okay. So the task is please read the texts and then mark the sentences from 1 to 5, true or false. If you don't know some words, then it's okay, we can discuss them later. Maybe something like that, because I wasn't very sure about words, because usually I ask people when they don't understand some words, then we usually have a bit of time to work with them to find out what they mean. But here,
but it's not the point here. It's for general understanding. If it's
well, yeah,
as we can see from the sentences. Okay, so check my understanding. So, like, read and choose true or false. It's okay. All your explanation about you don't know some words, but as a beginner student, I might be confused, so I would eliminate this. So the first sentence works. Read the text and mark the sentences true or false. Now check my understanding. And you can mention those words, but by checking understanding.
Okay, checking understanding. Well, understanding on the text. Well, the first logical question would be like, okay, tell me
No,
please.
not, I'm sorry, Vadim, not the understanding of the text, the understanding of your instructions.
Okay.
Do I
Yeah,
know what to do?
okay, and if they don't know what to do, then, check the understanding. Well, usually if I see that they, but here, well, if the task is long enough, then if I see that they don't really understand at all, then I show, like, as an example. Like, the first sentence, and I say that, yeah, we have the sentence here, That yes, they, I don't know, they eat different things or they don't, and I mark it true or false. Let's
Okay,
provide an
for
example.
example, even if you marked the first sentence, I say mm-hmm, and then I start reading aloud.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Well,
doing the wrong thing, so what should you ask here?
mm-hmm. Like, mm-hmm.
You should ask, do you read aloud? No. Or do you read silently?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. One of these two questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I read, and croissant. What is that? I don't know. What am I doing? I'm
Oh.
focusing on words that I don't know. What should you have asked me before I started reading?
Well, do we need to know all the words?
No.
No.
Yes. Yes, that's one of our mantras.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you see what to do here now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Right. So let's try with someone else. We have one more task. Aina is offline. That's a shame. She had some problems with elementary students. Who else wants to practice? Nadezhda, maybe you? Hello, Nadezhda. Natalia.
Hello, Olga. Hi, how are you?
Oh, hello. Fine. Having fun, as you can see, pretending to be a beginner
Okay.
student.
Yeah. I'm a little bit confused because it says read the you phrases. So are the you phrases the ones
Natalia,
in
just a
full or
second. It's
full?
slide 9, not 10.
Oh, I was still doing the same. I was still doing
Yes,
the same
still the
thing.
same
Oh,
because
okay, okay.
we have to do something with the underlined words. And remember, I am a beginner.
Okay, good, okay. Listen and read the text.
Just
Read,
read the text.
okay, read the text quickly. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Do we read silently? Yes.
Yes.
Do we read aloud?
No.
No.
One question is enough. Like, I'm
Mhm.
not stupid. I'm just a
Do
beginner.
we need all the words? No.
For what? You
Okay,
didn't
we
tell me
don't.
what to do. Just read.
Mhm. Is it okay? Anything else?
Um, yes, actually, what should I do? What I'm reading for? I don't have any instruction, just to read. And what
Couldn't
should
I
I
save
find by
the marking? Couldn't I save marking for after they finished reading? Or
Sorry.
I'm saying, could we save the second instruction for about the marking until after they finished reading?
But what are they reading for? What is the purpose?
Oh, okay. Well, if that's what you insist on that, okay, then
It's,
read the
common
text
sense
with,
insists on that, not me.
and then mark the sentences. True.
But we have already done true and false. Now we have some
What
underlined
are we doing now?
words.
I'm sorry, I'm a little bit confused. Can you enlighten me? Yes.
Okay, so underlined words, what can I do with them?
Oh, the underlined words. Sorry, I
Yes.
thought you wanted me to repeat the same thing, so
No,
we get
we
better.
have done true false is okay. But
Okay.
again, about your question, the student should know what to focus on. It couldn't be like read for the sake of reading and then oops, mark something true and false. Maybe I ignored those things because you told me to read maybe I overshked those places,
Mhm. Yeah, okay, well, thank you. Yeah, thank you for that.
Mhm.
That's useful. Okay, so look at the underlined words, use the photos to get their meaning. Okay. look at the underlined words.
Underlined?
At underlined line under.
Ah,
Word
okay.
with line under. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Then look at the photos
Mm-hmm.
and guess. I teach the word guess to all my students in
Mm-hmm.
the first couple of classes. So I teach this guess, imagine, and pretend, because I get them to do a lot of pretending.
Mm-hmm.
So I teach that. So guess the meaning. They should understand.
What action do you expect from me?
What action?
Yes.
Mm,
How, guessing happens inside my head. How do I show it?
mm-hmm. Is there any matching that we do? No, because
No,
normally we
no,
kind of
this is
match
it.
things.
This is, I cut it out of the platform. This is it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Use the photos to guess the meaning. Mm-hmm. What is underlined? Green tea, meat and sausage. Mm-hmm. Um, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit lost. One idea that I have is to get the student to tell me which picture do they find these items on, but I'm struggling to formulate it into an instruction which will be
Oh,
deciphered by a beginner. So I'm sorry.
Natalia, that could be a good idea if we didn't have texts attached to the pictures. If we had just two paragraphs and two pictures below, then it could,
Mm-hmm.
because, well, if I have a text that is surrounding the first picture, I wouldn't even try to look those items underlined in the other picture, right? Okay, so what else can I
Okay,
do?
I'm sorry, I'm disappointing you, but I've done my best, okay?
No, that's good because we are just illustrating the point that what we can see, and it's not only about this particular slide, what we can see in any book, any platform, what you can see, printed there is not always the best instruction you can give to a person. Especially, you know how difficult it is for native speakers to talk to beginners. They don't realize how much they need to downgrade their language. And here it's just this instruction is extremely vague. How do I show that I guess? What should I do? What is expected from me? If I were an intermediate level student, I could give you a definition, but I am a beginner. My devices are extremely limited. What can I do? So give me some instruction that I can really, you know, fulfill. Okay, guys, help Natalia.
Olga, I'm really sorry, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know what that they should be doing here because they don't have the vocabulary to describe to me the pictures or describe to me, tell me what is a green tea.
Well, but this
Okay,
is,
well, show me what is green tea and show me what is soup. That's the only thing I can think of, but I can't
and
think of
it's
it.
not a bad thing because if you, well, maybe they are too shy to show because it's, well, I don't remember, but it's definitely within the first 5 lessons that you are doing this thing. So if you show something like you are drinking something, they can say green tea, and I don't suppose anyone can have problems with green tea. And soup, it's impossible to misunderstand the word soup. If you show that you are eating something like yum, that would be soup. But cold, how do I show, what can I do with cold? Even if I show it on the picture somehow, first of all, there's no cold meat in the picture. And what else do we have? Strong about Hungarian brandy. There's no brandy in the picture. So we can just mime the words. We can show like and they will say cold, yes, or we can show some strong arm and they will say strong. So they can react to your gesturing. They can gesture themselves. It's just for the sake of example, but anyway, if we do have all the items in the picture, it was an idea from one of our colleagues, we can just ask them, but by this time they should know left and right, so it is something on the left, on the right. Or you start some sentences and they should continue with only one word. From this list that they should guess the meaning. So you say that for lunch I usually have soup, yes, and my coffee is very strong, something like this, or ice cream is usually cold. They can do something like this. But important thing, yes, that we should take into account. Always imagine, yeah, the words that you teach your students, it's not only for Natalia, it's for everyone. Always imagine, visualize what action you expect, because to say, guess the meaning is not enough. You should know what the person is going to do and if the person is able to do that. And that's actually an answer to the question whether we should read instructions out loud, just what we can see printed there. No, we shouldn't, obviously. Okay, slide 10. I have evolved. Now I'm pre-intermediate. Let's look at this task. It's, as you can see, task 2. Before that, we had a warm-up about pessimists and optimists. So the student knows the words. It's okay. I experimented once on one of my students because I had the lesson on this topic immediately after this webinar, and I gave him instructions just like some of our colleagues did, and he started doing the same, he started doing the wrong thing twice. And okay, I felt pity. I gave him a clear instruction for the third time. It's demotivating if it's the beginning of your lesson and the first thing you start doing is wrong and then it's wrong again. I just, you know, was not afraid about that student because he's one of our colleagues. I could have explained if necessary that that was just an experiment, but we don't want to disappoint our students. We should give them instructions that lead them to some success, not disappointment. So look at all the sentences and give me a clear instruction so that I can start doing the right thing. Anyone?
No ideas for now because no, whatever comes to mind, it's always long and it started like
Let's try.
yes, it was imagine or like you are, I don't know.
Okay, just say something. Give me an
Yes.
instruction.
Okay. Please maybe re read read the you phrases silently and use them to reply to the sentences below. Or to react to the sentences below, like a pessimist.
Two
I don't.
phrases are below. What should I use to react?
Yeah.
Okay, who can help us?
One more.
Okay, I would try like this. So I would say there are two columns at the bottom. You, this is what you say. The pessimist, this is what the pessimist says. So you say, we are having the party in the garden. The pessimist says, it will rain. So this is the pessimist, what he says. So drag the pessimist's phrases and match them with you. So that's what I would say. Is it too long? I don't know.
Maybe a bit longish, but okay, you showed the example. We're having the party in the garden, it will rain. Well, it's correct, but how do you make sure that the student understands the logic? Because all the phrases are pessimistic and you only highlighted that it's pessimistic. So I can start, I'm doing my driving test this afternoon, you'll miss it. Well, maybe you will oversleep and miss your test, okay? Or you won't understand a word in your test. Or you won't pass. Or you'll break your leg and you won't go to the test. Like, they're all pessimistic. You won't find a parking space, you see, but only one of them is correct. And actually any phrase that I put here, it is pessimistic. Even if I say I'm doing my driving test this afternoon, it will rain, it's also pessimistic. So what should
I
we
think
add?
I'm
Just
missing your point. What is it you're trying to say? I think on the real platform, there's enough sentences to be matched with the responses.
right. There are more sentences for you for me to cut out. What I mean is they should know the logic behind this. So we're having the party, I'm doing my driving test, we're meeting Anna and Daniel. What are those phrases all together? How can we describe them with one word?
So no, I think this is what you say.
They are plans. They are all plans, right?
So we can say an optimist says. Yeah, I don't know.
Yes, but if you mention that we have plans, you have plans, and the pessimist, what does this pessimist do?
Okay, well
Wishes
that's a good
bad
idea.
luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad
Ruin
luck.
plans.
So what is a bad luck for the party in the garden? Bad weather, right? So it will rain. Because if we focus on being pessimistic only, they start doing the wrong thing. I saw it. I checked it on my student. But if they know that it's bad luck for this plan, then it's easy for them to match.
Okay, well that was a great idea, and sometimes great ideas come to people, and this one came to you, and thank you for sharing.
Okay. My pleasure. So it's important for us to be able to see what the person needs to do and what can help the person, and just give an instruction including this, okay? So instruction given is fun. If we practice, we definitely get better. Well, let's continue. Let's look at slide 11. I'll speed up a bit because we have a lot of information left. Using gestures is a great thing to do because it saves time and it helps us talk less. You definitely know that some gestures are inappropriate, so avoid some misunderstanding, and gestures should be systematic. If I show the past behind my shoulder, I should always do that. I shouldn't show it like to the left or to the right or in some other place. Let's look at slide 12. This guy is just for attracting attention. Don't match him to something. Think of good gestures for the following instructions. Just describe with your words.
Well, maybe with connect to words, I don't know, we can try like bringing our fingers or hands together, like, I don't know how to show that without the camera, yeah. Distribute the words into groups. It's actually, it would be the separate, but, and we can also show like move hands a little bit down, like it comes here, or camera. Yeah, a longer answer. Well, we can just you know, like a bit no, maybe whirl our hand.
Right.
Like yeah, like not exactly. Well, usually I guess we can show it maybe with a bit of with the face, with maybe with the shoulders, like like that. Repeat. I don't know. Well, in this case, maybe we can point to our ear, or like we didn't quite catch it. Yeah, and ask me. Now that's a tough one because I don't know here.
Just point at yourself. So you ask a student, so how was your weekend? And he says, blah, 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 blah. And then you like a nod and show, point at yourself. And it could be at the beginning maybe of your grammar presentation or something. So you need the student to ask you for whichever reason, yeah? Okay, so you can see we can use gestures. Don't be shy. Gestures save a lot of time. Well, slide 13, error correction. Who can remind us when we focus on accuracy and when on fluency?
Well, if I remember correctly, we focus on the accuracy. If perhaps if a student makes a mistake that's directly connected to the task that we're doing, like if we're training grammar and they make a grammar mistake, then we should fix this mistake. But if it's well, if it's a task that's focused on something else, then we may provide some feedback maybe afterwards, or if maybe the mistake wasn't very significant, then not at all.
Right, so let's look at slide. What happened? Let's look at slide 14. So if it was a task on accuracy, some like grammar practice, vocabulary practice, we give immediate feedback because they have to remember the correct form. If it was fluency activity, we give delayed feedback because so fluency shouldn't be interrupted. When we give feedback, whether it is delayed or immediate, let's look at slide 15. We should differentiate between mistakes and errors because then we know what to correct and what not to correct. If your elementary student says, I never was in London, is it correct? No, it is not correct, but the student doesn't know that. So it's an error, but it's an error due to ignorance. If you haven't taught that, you don't correct it. Otherwise, you will have to, you know, drop your lesson and start teaching present perfect. If the same student says, my friend was in London last year, it's not correct, and it's due to poor knowledge, so it's an error that should be corrected. But if your student says, I have a friend, her name is Vasya, he lives in Moscow, he has a wife, his wife's name is Masha, and he also has a son, his son's name is Petya. So first he said her name is Vasya, which is not correct, but then he used his correctly. Do you correct that? No,
Well,
you don't.
no.
Yeah, because that was a mistake, just a slip of the tongue. The student corrected himself. It means he knows how to use it. Okay, let's practice. Let's look at slide 16. And to correct or not to correct, let's practice with these mistakes and errors.
Well, I think the first one we need to correct because the student needs to understand that the structure of the present perfect is have plus past participle. So here
Okay.
he's using to be, and
Right.
that's wrong structure, wrong form.
Okay. The second one.
Well, the second one probably not, because here I've never done a host. Well, the mistake, it's just it's a preposition. Well, it depends on the student. Like if they don't know prepositions yet, then maybe it would be good to just study them later. But here, if it's just an abstract example, no, maybe probably we shouldn't focus on
We
that.
shouldn't, because it's not the point. If we correct them here, they will remember, I made mistakes with present perfect, but there was nothing wrong with present perfect. Okay, number 3.
I think we should not correct here as well, because well it's warm up, and well I guess the mistake is in an irrelevant word, like he didn't say like my big father was a footballist or something like that, so
Yes, so first of all, we don't correct during the warm-up. If we need, we can do this covert correction, like casually, as if reacting to his words and say, wow, was he a famous footballer? So you give him the correct form, but not like, stop, there's a mistake. So you hide it in your question if you want, if you feel that it's important. Maybe your previous topic was jobs, maybe. What about number 4? And someone else can join in and correct a couple of errors. Anastasia, are you with us? Anna, Nadezhda, anyone? Oh, I can't talk today. That's a shame.
Okay, this needs to be corrected immediately because it's the wrong form. Whose book is this? It's his. I
Yes.
want a big house with a garden. We leave it because it's a speaking activity and we're looking for fluency.
Will we insert it in our or include it in our delayed feedback?
If it wasn't a slip of a tongue, like you said before, if we've noticed the student misses that consistently, then we might comment on that, but otherwise it could be just a slip of the tongue.
And actually it depends on the lesson in general. If we mostly talked about parts of the house and furniture, maybe it's not the point here. If our grammar topic was verbs plus to plus infinitive, then we should correct it. If we studied, let's say, degrees of comparison, then we shouldn't. And the last one.
Well, I think it needs to be corrected if the lesson is about planning the weekend together, then we are probably practicing present simple, and that will be one of the one of the highlights of the lesson, how to teach the student to make questions. So I think it
So
needs to
he's
be
actually
corrected.
making a suggestion. He's supposed to say, why don't we go? Why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? But he hasn't mastered the form. So our speaking practice is not efficient. Here it's like the only situation, if you have some target language and the student keeps making mistakes, whatever he's saying is all wrong, then you should stop them. point this out again, maybe even drill it more or do some controlled practice activity again, and only then return to the speaking, because this speaking is pointless. Okay, so error correction techniques, slide 17. How exactly can we correct? We can give negative feedback. Verbal, just say, not exactly, think a bit, or something else. It could be non-verbal with our gestures and some mimicking, some grimace that shows that not right. You can repeat the sentence correctly. It could make sense, for example, for intonation. Instead of explaining rising and falling and pitch and whatever, you can just say something and ask them to repeat. You can state what the error is, like article, verb tense. If it's not a lot of talking, then it's okay. You can repeat the sentence up to the point of the mistake, but don't do this. He leave, he talk, they don't really learn from this hissing, right? So you can say, I leave, but he leaves. At least they repeat the full word. Finger coding in its original form looks magnificent. I cannot do that. My fingers are not flexible. I can use some finger coding for dummies. It's like every finger is a word. And for example, a student missed a word. He said, he, a student. So I jump with my index finger of the other hand on every finger, like jump, 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 and he, a student. So one finger doesn't have any word. And they say that they should put something here. Or you can show stress, like intonation, and you pull the stressed finger down. You show that it's stressed. If you play some musical instrument, you might master the real finger coding, so just Google it. You might find it useful. Echoing with quizzical intonation could help. So echoing to praise your student is a bad idea. But here it could be okay. So for example, what did you do yesterday? I go to the cinema. Go? I went to the cinema. Or you can ask for clarification. I go to the cinema. Do you go to the cinema every Sunday? Oh no, I went to the cinema. So similar things. You can use humor. Like my student was describing things in her bag, and among other stuff she named a plastic snake, and she said, the snake put in the bag my son. Oh, a huge snake took your son and put into your bag. So she started laughing, and she understood that it was the wrong word order. Sometimes they said something that doesn't make much sense. You don't know how to point out. You can just reformulate. You can say, oh, do you mean that blah, blah, blah? And they say, oh, yeah, thank you. You can ask questions. So something like asking for clarification, but here it's more maybe teacher-like, like was it in the present or past, or was it a long or short activity? Or if it's delayed feedback, we usually write everything in the chat. So let's practice. Let's use these ways to correct some errors at slide 18.
Okay, he liked his job. Like, he, I
So
like,
if
he.
he likes. Okay, if we say just like, then they say just s, and it's not enough.
I like, he,
He
okay.
likes. Or we can show this S like in the air with your finger, or some teachers show like 3 fingers for the third person. Or what else can you do? Well, all the other things are too wordy. Okay, what about the second one?
Well, maybe with the second one we can try like with a quizzical intonation, like a student says, where did it go yesterday? And I would reply like, where did I go yesterday? Maybe like that.
Could be. I like Anna's idea, use fingers to show word order. Where, cross your fingers, go yesterday. Or I usually, fingers are not enough for me, I'm too expressive, as if I'm, moving some cups around, in front of me, like where, moving my hands yesterday, to show that word order should be different. Okay, the secretary is in the office. It's stress. We should show the correct stress. So fingers again work secretary. My little finger goes down, secretary. Or we can hum it. Or we can just say this word and ask them to repeat. Give me one sandwich. What's wrong here?
No, maybe you should give two options to the student. Give me one sandwich or give me a sandwich.
Does it sound polite?
Okay, well, I wasn't sure what level we're teaching, but if that's that, then of course. Give me one sandwich, I could mime a gun pointed at my head. Give me one.
Yes, and we can, for
Say,
example, give them the beginning, like, can I? Or we can hum the polite intonation after this gun. Okay, and she has a beautiful hair.
I would I'd take a strand of my hair and say, she has a beautiful hair.
Only one. Oh, poor her. Okay, so let's speed up because we're out of time. Drilling is a good technique. Let's look at slide 20. We use it for presenting grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and functions. We use it to correct those and to revise them. Let's look at slide 21. We do it to build confidence, promote fluency, facilitate memory, and try out new language. Because when you repeat mechanically, it's easier because it's not scary. You don't have to construct by yourself. We need some good technique to introduce some fun, wave your hands, or add some rhythm. Give natural models. It shouldn't be like I can sing, I can jump, because people don't talk like that. So your drilling model should be natural, and it should be clear what is stressed, what is not stressed, where's the weak form, where's the strong form, and so on. There are different types of drills. Slide 22, front chaining, when the phrase is long and it's difficult to repeat the whole phrase. So you can start like, can you tell, can you tell me the way, can you tell me the way to the station? And you keep the stressed syllables as they are, or you can say, done it, have done it, should have done it, you should have done it. Even when I start with have here, I don't stress it, right? Mini dialogue, when you practice the yes-no questions. Information gap, it could be the same as mini dialogue, and substitution drill. You give the infinitive and your student gives you the full sentence with your target language, something like this. So feel free to use all of them when you drill something, some new language with the student, because it works. And one last bit of information, slide 23. We talk a lot about it at our classroom, at our lifetime 6. Now just a couple of words that all students need positive reinforcement. When they do something good, something that you expect from them, when they succeed, give them emotional response. So not just but yeah, great, you've done it, well done, perfect, Wonderful. It should be immediate. It should be relevant. If it was just one sentence in your grammar activity and you start praising them for 2 minutes, it's too much. It should be desirable. You should know your student, and so for someone it's yay, and for someone it's like, you know, some smiley in the chat, and for someone it's some maybe some encouraging words, so on. And you should emotionally ignore the opposite. If they refuse to do something or they don't do their homework and you start, no, 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 you shouldn't do that because you hinder your progress and blah, 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 blah. You give them emotional feedback, and that's not what you should do in this situation. So support what you want to see and don't give any emotions for what you don't want to see. So this is it for today, and I would like to have some feedback. What was interesting, useful for you, and what would you like to start practicing?
Giving instructions, of course, because giving short, concise, clear instructions, it's a problem, yeah. But well, tonight I'll try to practice that.
Good luck.
Thank you.
No, we ran out of time. I'd like to hear a bit more on drilling, but I will go to the next class, next seminar.
Okay, please come. Oh, giving instructions, yeah. Good luck with practicing. Please come again, tell us what helped you with your instructions, because it's just a skill. The more you practice, the clearer they become. Okay, so I would like to thank everyone, especially those who were active, who were practicing and asking questions and giving examples. Have a great week. Enjoy your teaching and hope to talk to you soon. Goodbye.